good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whenever you're seeing the show. I welcome all my friends in TV land. This is Senior Issues, etc. And I'm your host, Vita Burden. And you know what? This is my first starter show of my 14th year. Whew. Would you believe that? And what we are is we're not young seniors, we're older seniors, and this show is for you. And you know what? I've gotten to know the audience out there. I've gotten to know each and every one of you. I've met so many on the street, in stores, in restaurants, and you've come up and introduced yourself to me, and it's like we have really gotten to be good friends throughout the years. Now, the first show of every season, I have the crew, and I'm going to tell you the reason that I have it. Each one of us on this show are volunteers. We all have infirmities, we all have things, but it hasn't stopped the creative spirit that's within us. And I could not have this show going all these years if I didn't have a good crew behind me. And I do have not only a good crew, I have the best crew in the world. And I want you to know that each one of them is doing a vital thing, and we are contributing to the community, and as elders, we are like statesmen. We're holding up our role to be examples for the next generation coming up behind us. And that's the way that God wants things, in that order. And so I want you to meet each one of them and know how they are. So the first one is Joe Pasalagua, pass the water, that's what his name means. Joe, I want you to tell our audience out there, look right in that camera, how old you are, first of all.
Well, I'm 89. I'll be 90 in January.
Uh-huh.
And I'm still getting around. And
tell the audience what your hobby is with your cars. That's an interesting...
Well, my hobby is photography, and also I dilly-dally with my antique cars. I have 4 of them. 2 Model Ts and 2 Model A Fords.
Uh-huh.
And I've had a 100-year anniversary with my 1912 and showed that the last couple of years. So that's been very exciting.
Uh-huh. And you also before retirement, you were a photographer, right?
Yes, I had a studio in Libertyville in the 50s.
Uh-huh.
And I had it for a couple of years, and I was traveling all over the world for the filtration company out of Mundelein.
Uh-huh.
And I did that, and then I was doing photography on the side, and then when they moved to Texas, I decided to open a studio in Libertyville.
Uh-huh.
And it was a portrait studio, and I had that for a while, and then I had to go back to work because I couldn't make ends meet in photography. And I went to school for American Academy of Fine Arts, which I love to do artwork.
Uh-huh.
And I was doing that for a while. But I had my wife, Gertrude, which is a wonderful person.
You want to blow her a kiss?
Oh, sure. And also my kids,
Okay, blow a kiss to them.
Okay. Five of them.
Good.
So.
Did you blow 5 kisses?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah. I think
Now, what do you do
anyway.
I want you to tell our audience what you do on the show.
Well, I do a little bit of everything.
Right.
Whatever Gloria...
He sure does.
She snaps the whip, and then I go on the cameras or sound or whatever she needs.
He's referring to Gloria Shapiro. She's the producer.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And whatever you decide to have me do, I try and do it,
Uh-huh.
I'm not a leader. I'm more of a follower than anything else.
But you've been a very vital part. You're very helpful. I know that when we started, when Joe started, we had a junky desk here that used to wobble all around. And so then they put this in, and Joe put it on rollers because we come in, we set the studio up, so that was very helpful to us. And also, he's very modest in what he says that he does. He not only has these antique cars, but he he reupholsters them. So I have all the photos stored. He made me a case out of leatherette so I could carry all the photos. And it's professional. And he is really a good bucket of water to have around.
Oh, thank you very much,
Because you
Vita.
can pour him out and it's endless.
Thank you.
He's a good bucket of water. We're going to move on to this lady in purple over here, Judy Ward, and she's coming into her 7th year. I want to tell you something, how I met Judy. I met her in a hot tub, okay? I met her in a hot tub in Gurnee at the Center Club, a health club, and we're sitting in the hot tub, and so we start talking. We were sitting across from each other. What do you do? I said, well, I have a television show. She said, what? And I said, yeah, maybe you'd like to come to it. Here it is, 7 years
Here I
later.
am, still here.
Is that the truth,
That
Nancy?
is the truth, right.
Judy, why don't you look right in the camera and tell them a little bit about yourself?
Okay, I'm Judy Ward, and I'm 68 years young. I call it young. And I'm married, and it'll be our 35th wedding anniversary on the 23rd. And we have 2 children. Jennifer lives in Frankfurt, Germany. She's a musicologist. And Jamie is just moving to Humboldt Park from Evanston. And we have 1 grand puppy. And
And what is the grandpuppy's name?
his name is Maui because his mom and dad would go to Hawaii frequently. And also I have 2 puppies. I call them puppies. They're only about 12 and 14 pounds, Shih Tzu poodles. One is Mannheim, named after a town the family lived in Germany. And Muffin, the 1-year-old. And I have taught for 24 years. I'm a retired teacher. I taught in California, I taught in Florida, I taught in Alaska, and 5 years in Germany. So
And what do you do on the show?
on this show, I started out being floor director, and I've been on the sound part of it, and
In the sound booth.
in the sound booth, and wherever I'm needed, I do that.
And I know that you kept giving your heart to Jesus, and you wanted
Yes.
to mention that.
Yes, also
follower
a
of
very, very important part of my life. I'm part of CBS, Community Bible Study, which meets in Libertyville. And we meet every Thursday from September until September to May, just like a children's schedule. And right now there are 60 women involved. I'm a core leader, and 70 children.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Well,
wonderful.
I think, first of all, I think that for your 35th anniversary, you should blow a kiss to your husband and for your children
Jennifer and Jamie.
and their respective spouses, right?
That's right. Yeah, they have wonderful husbands.
Well, you have really been faithful, and you have showed a really pure dedication for the show, and that is greatly appreciated. You do have
you.
the heart of a volunteer, and that's where volunteering comes from. It comes from the heart.
That's
It doesn't
right.
come from, I'm just going to do a duty. It comes from the person wanting to share with the community. Now, the next young man I have here is a newcomer to the show, but he's not a newcomer. I think, his name is Larry Phillips, and he has recently come with us, and he's going to be working on the camera. So, Larry, what did you do before you retired?
I worked at Johnson Motors for 30 years, and after I retired from Johnson Motors, my wife used to do taxes for H&R Block, so I used to be a courier for H&R Block for about 2 years, and then I quit H&R Block and I went to work for the Bank of Waukegan, which is now North States Bank, and I worked there for another approximately 20 years as a courier, doing from running one bank to the other. And then I was married for 59 years, and it'll be 2 years in November that my wife has passed away, and since that I have I've had I got 3 children, 2 daughters and a son, and in the meantime I have joined the kitchen band, which I enjoy very much, and going to all the different nursing homes and participating in the band.
Oh, that is good. Now, what are you going to be doing with the show here?
I am going to be a cameraman in the show here.
And I'm sure that you're going to be an asset in doing this because you just seem to fit in with us like stone fitting on a stone. You're part of the family immediately. We're kinship to each other. So it's good, so good to have you aboard. Now, you know, this show is going to be seen online in, I'd say probably about a week. And to get us online, you go to Senior, SENIOR, Issues, ISSUES, etc. Etc. is ETC. You don't spell it out. It's ETC.org. Okay? I'm going to tell you one more time. Senior, Issues, etc. ETC.org. And if you go up there, get into our website, just scroll down, and as you scroll down, what you'll see is it's linked to the shows, and there's approximately about 30 shows online. And if you scroll down a little bit more, it's our blog, and so you can, and it's always the current one is up there, and then it's the one that it's in the order in which they were filmed, and it'll go back. So you could either just link on to the show, or you can link on to the blog. And don't go away, because I've got more crew, and the best is yet to come. Hi, we're back. I just wanted to talk a minute and tell you what's held the show together for the last 13 years. Well, I can tell you from the fullness of my heart, a lot of prayer, some green silver masking tape, a few safety pins, and a quart of Ensure. And that's kept us together for the last 13 years. And we've gone through the highs and lows, the bumps, the valleys, the catastrophes. One catastrophe is my first Christmas show that I had booked a choral group, and then the night before the show was a big snowstorm, so the leader of the group called me in the morning. She said, well, you'll have to use your backup team because we're not coming in because of the snow. I was aghast. So what we did was the show must go on, then, you know, if you're in show business. So it's myself and Gloria and Selby Hussey, who has passed on this last year. He was from England, and Gloria's Jewish, and I'm an Italian background. So we told our childhood memories of, you know, what Christmas was, and we just did it like in a few minutes. We didn't have time to get nervous about it because we were just put on the spot, and it turned out to be one of our best shows. Well, that's just one of the examples that you're faced with, you know, when you're pioneering something. But, you know, through help from above, you know, we've managed it through, and we've gained, you know, a sizable audience in the meantime. But, you know, we're just average persons, just like you that's watching the show. You know, if we could do it, you could do it. I'm anyone, and this next lady has been my right arm since we started the show. This is Gloria Shapiro. You've heard us give reference to her. She happens to be the producer of the show, and she's 83. I know she looks 29, but she's really 83.
Yeah, and one of the things that I think about a lot is that senior issues, etc., is truly a senior's voice. Somebody else is not speaking for us. We are speaking for ourselves. And I think that's something that is so basic and so important, because sooner or later the whole baby boomers are starting to become seniors, and they have a voice and they want that voice to be heard, just like we want our voice to be heard. We don't want somebody else to speak for us. So that's the thing that excites me the most about senior issues. And the other thing I was thinking about is that we're all retired, but we're not retired from living. We still have our voice, we still have the gifts and the artistry that the good Lord has given unto us. So as we continue on in life, being 81 and 83 and whatever age, all the gifts and the talents that have been given to us, we just keep using them and using them and using them, and we use them for a really good purpose, and that is to be a part of the community, you know, that we live in.
And I know that you have children, right?
Oh, right.
You want to mention your children and your grandchildren?
Right. Oh, well, I have a daughter, Julie, who's married to Felipe, and I have two granddaughters, Melanie, who's 22, and Gabrielle, that's 20. And then I have another daughter, Madeline, and she's married to Rico, and they have a child, JD, who is going to be 7.
And she is adopted
Yeah,
from where?
she's adopted. She's from Vietnam, and it was worth all the rigmarole and everything that you go through to bring her here and to be in our family.
Well, what you haven't told our audience is what you do for the show.
Oh, what I am is I'm the one who cracks the whip.
Ouch.
I'm the producer of the show, and I make sure that everybody does their job. I have the best crew, and you never really have to ask anybody to do much of anything because everybody just is so cooperative and so thoughtful. And just everyone has an energy that just tells you we want to do this job and we want to do it to the best of our ability. So we're a real community. We're a community service, but we're a real community of people that age doesn't matter. And what really matters is that we are producing a show that we feel is very important for the times that we are living in, for such a time as this.
Well, since you were with from the very beginning of the show, what do you feel has changed so much?
Changed about the show?
Uh-huh.
I don't think that much has changed about the show. I think that
The times.
the times that we're living in has
Right.
changed, but the focus of the show, which was to give information that we can't get other places, and information from us, not interpreted. The most important thing, I think, is that we speak for ourselves, that we are not interpreted, because people are always trying to speak for us because they don't think we're capable of speaking for ourselves, but let me tell you, we are.
I know. Tell the audience that you were out to lunch with your granddaughter and she read a book.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, tell them this. It's
Well,
cute.
my granddaughter that's 22 has just graduated from college.
And she knows everything, doesn't she?
She knows everything that there is to know. And she just read this book that describes how seniors learn and how they react and what they need to know and what they don't need to know. And it was like she knew everything about being my age, although she's 22. And I just sat there and I listened to her and I thought, isn't this remarkable? 22 and knows everything.
And she was trying to teach your grandma how to be
83 and be successful.
Because she read a book. You know, that's a sign of the times.
Right.
That's a sign of the times. The kids get it out of books and they haven't had enough
The
experience yet. And what we are as seniors is we have experience under our belt.
That's right.
And we're elders. And I have seen the changes since the show started. We were such a minority, and it's like seniors were put on a shelf and they weren't to be heard from. It's like, you know, being my age, like children were just supposed to be seen and not heard, you know, but that has changed because the times have changed. And with all the things that go with the aging process, one of the things that I think is very important is to keep our mind occupied and go along with the changes of the time and to learn new things. And that keeps these little gray cells up here. instead of letting them go dormant and decay, that keeps them active, and we keep producing new ones. And what it is I went through an art course one time, and they were talking about what is the highest level of creativity, and they were testing. It was at Roosevelt University. They said the highest level of creativity is problem solving. That's what they say. If you want to keep those cells going, do crossword puzzles or get into things that you have to solve the problems. That keeps it going. I could talk on, but I have a good-looking guy that's looking over at me, and he's a newcomer to the set, and I want to introduce him. And this is Jack Herberger, and he has had a little bit of experience as a stagehand in Waukegan, and he's going to tell us about it.
Really?
Yes, really.
My name is Jack Herberger. I'm a lifelong Waukeganite. I grew up there. I married there. A girl from there, Audrey O'Hare, she was from Waukegan also. I worked 18 years at Johnson Motors and 10 years at Lake County Office Equipment and 18 years at the Lake County Courthouse. I was office services manager at the courthouse. What else?
Now you'd worked as a stagehand.
I was a stagehand at the Genesee Theater where they had live plays going there.
Uh-huh.
I got the job from a girl that worked for me at the courthouse. She was one of the directors there, and she wanted to know if I wanted a job as a stagehand. I said, why not? Let's give it a try. And it was different. It was exciting. I got to meet Imogene Coca.
Oh, I always loved her.
Yeah, she was a nice lady. She got a little stumbly coming out to the stage. She'd sit back and drink while she was waiting to come
Yeah,
on.
I heard she liked to.
Yeah, and I had to help her over all those cables so she'd get out
Oh,
of the
that's
stage.
so funny.
And she giggled.
And did she go through her lines? Probably when the lights went on, she was probably a pro.
Oh, she was, yeah. Oh, yeah. I joined the Kitchen Clangers with my brother-in-law, Larry,
Uh-huh.
who was here a few minutes ago.
Uh-huh.
And my wife was out at Winchester House,
Uh-huh.
along with Larry's wife was out there, and we watched the Kitchen Clangers, the kitchen band, once a month there, and it looked like great fun.
Uh-huh.
So Larry got me to join up. He'd been there for a couple of months, and now we're all over the county.
Uh-huh. Well, that's so good. We're so glad to hear. Why don't you tell the audience how old you are?
Do I have to?
Yes. You're commanded to.
I'm 39.
Good. I told you we have some young blood here.
No, I'm 80 years old.
Oh, good.
And my daughter says, when you get on camera, don't embarrass us. So, yeah, and it was, as you can tell by my t-shirt, I'm a Batman fan,
Good.
along with the Green Bay Packers.
I'm going to have to pass on to get Sharon on. So nice to have you with us. And
Thank
this is Sharon. And Sharon is going to tell us a little bit about herself and her background.
Yes. Hi, Vita. This is my second year starting with you, and I was floor manager, and I understand I will be doing some graphics in the future. I've been married for 40 years, and we're celebrating our anniversary September 29th. Last year I was telling you about my volunteering with the Greyhounds, and since then mine has passed away. And I think I'm a little too old to take them on, but maybe fostering dogs might be something in my future now. I've spoken to my husband about it.
You're talking
and
about
there's
Greyhound dogs.
Greyhound dogs,
Right. Those are those big,
the racers.
sleek racers, right.
And I did talk to my husband about fostering, and there is another program from Save a Pet where some of the dogs are 8, 9 years old. They used to be in families, and now they've been given up for whatever reason. These are dogs that need a home for the next 2 or 3 years, however long their life is going to be. And my husband seems to have agreed that we can take either a greyhound or some dog from Save a Pet. And my other interest, before I run out of time, I forgot to tell you that I'm a doll collector.
A what?
Doll collector.
You mean
My mother, dolls.
Dolls, oh.
Yes, my mother started me when I was 5 years old, and we used to go downtown. And she'd put them on layaway, and it was $1 a month, I think, until the dolls were paid for.
what kind of doll?
Oh, I have some large walking dolls. They're bride and
different
groom.
kinds of dolls.
And yes, so I have a whole bridal salon of dolls. I also have some Barbies and things like that. But there's one. His name is Mel Odom, and he started a 1940s doll. And they had the WAC uniform and the trunk. And just all of the great costumes
Do you
that
go
came
to
with
doll
the 40s.
conventions and
I
things?
used to travel to doll conventions just to buy, but I don't do that any longer. Now I'm looking to pack them up and sell them. I had them; they were fun, and the collecting is over.
I know both Gloria and I were to Sharon's house. She's got a gorgeous home in Gurnee.
Thank you.
Yeah, and she's really a good housekeeper, and she's been a added feature of our show. We're so happy to have her here. And she's also, you're with Judy in that same Bible
We
club.
are. We're in the community Bible together, and we're also part of the lovely ladies of the library. Red
You belong
Hats.
to Red Hats too, don't you?
Yes, we do.
So
Judy
you-
gets me in a lot of things. We're in the swimming pool now at Condell also. so.
Well, I know that you're very active, but that's very good.
It is.
That you're very active. That keeps you going. I know Sharon, just this last season, I think you heard me announce it, she just had her hip done. And, you know, that she came in, you know, when it was even hard for her to walk. That's how dedicated that she is. That's how open-hearted she
Thank
is.
you.
And we're so fortunate, you know, like to have her. And, you know, the last one that I want to pay tribute to is for all of you out there. You have a special place in our heart. You have a special place in our heart because as the show couldn't run without the crew here, the show wouldn't be on if we didn't have every Tuesday at 8 o'clock or whatever time you're seeing it, whatever community, you click that dial on to watch us. Hopefully we are your voice. You can contact me anytime. The graphics, you'll see how you can contact me. If you have any kind of a show idea, if you want to be a part of our crew, or if you want to come on the show, because this one is for you, and we pay tribute to you, because without an audience, we never would have a show. And now I think we've
How
come...
about Helen Tull?
Oh, yes, there's 3 people that are missing from the show today, and one is Art Kick. He couldn't be here today, and our consultant, Phil Hartog, and Helen Tull, who does a lot of computer work. So those are 3 members of our crew that I want to pay tribute to. I want to pay tribute to everyone, and our technician from Comcast, Dan Huser. And what time it is now, you know, when you out there come to the end of your rope, you tie a knot and hang on. You hang on because the best is yet to come. And this is the truth I'm giving you. Now catch the spirit. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem and for peace in the Middle East. We love you all.
Amen.
Amen.